So it's called Encounters with Lucia Moholy, Personal Insights and Art Historical Extracts. In the second half of the 1970s, together with a friend living in Berlin, I Angela Thomas, co-founded Cassandra, a feminist magazine for the visual arts in Berlin and Zurich. It was the Zurich editor, and on February 11, 1980, several women from different professional fields of interest met in my apartment, and we founded a feminist group. I then, an art history student at the University of Zurich, suggested that our feminist group go and visit the photographer Lucia Moholy, who lived near Zurich in Zolikon. Her photos from the Bauhaus period brought the spirit of transformation from that era into the present and had a significant influence on my perceptions of the objects produced at the Bauhaus and some of the people working there. Lucia Moholy did not photograph from above, but at eye level and close-up. She was persistent in her dedication to quality. I had the impression that Lucia Moholy's expertise, her skills, her intelligence were lying dormant in Switzerland. To counter this, I would have liked to develop and publish something interdisciplinary on Lucia Moholy's life and work. But when I asked, Lucia Moholy waved me off. She was a foreigner in Switzerland and was therefore not allowed to express herself politically. I later ran into Lucia Moholy at the press conference for the George van Dongerlo retrospective at the Kulthaus Zurich in 1981, which was created by Max Bill and myself. Lucia Moholy complained that it was far too dark in the exhibition space. And I gently pointed out to her, Frau Moholy, you're wearing dark glasses, and photographed her while she sat on a bench listening to Max Bill's comments on the exhibition, whom she knew from the Bauhaus in Dessau. Born in Winterthur, Switzerland, Max Bill enrolled at the Bauhaus in Dessau in April 1927, where Lucia's Hungarian husband, the Bauhaus master László Moholy was head of the metal workshop, where Bill studied temporarily in 1928. In February 1984, I received a letter from Lucia Moholy, in which she wrote to me about the Sophie Teuber art exhibition catalogue that I had compiled. Quote, Dear Angela Thomas, the Sophie Teuber catalogue has given me much pleasure, and still does. Have I already thanked you for it? If not, I do so twice as warmly, Lucia Moholy. Like Lucia Moholy, I was also a foreigner in Switzerland. I would not receive a Swiss passport until years later. On July 3, 1985, Orkater, a Dutch theater group, performs in Zurich with the play Panic in Berlin, whose text was written by Kurt Schwitters. I'm going to see the play, and so is Lucia Moholy. Her friendship with Kurt Schwitters was very important to her. Like her, he too was forced to flee Germany during the Nazi era. Together with Kurt Schwitters and others, Lucia and László Moholy were present at the Congress of Constructivists and Dadaists in Weimar in 1922. And in the same year, Lucia and László traveled to Hanover with El Lisitsky, a Russian avant-garde artist who was living in Berlin at the time, to attend a Dada evening organized by Kurt Schwitters. Also in attendance were Nelly van Doesburg, according to Lucia Moholy, an outstanding pianist, and her husband Theo van Doesburg, who 2 years later had their portraits taken in strict profile by Lucia Moholy. The 91-year-old Lucia Moholy is now experiencing how a predominantly young audience is reacting with cries of bravo to the Schwitters play in Zurich. Now, Lucia Moholy's 91st birthday, 1985. Egidio Marzona, the publisher and art collector, is coming to visit me at Kirchgasse in Zurich on January 18, 1985. And at 3 p.m. the two of us will drive to Zolikon together with the Swiss photographer Thomas Burla and the Austrian actor and director of the Zurich Theater Am Neumarkt, Peter Schweiger, to celebrate Lucia Moholy's 91st birthday in her private apartment. Other guests include a Czech-Swiss art historian Ludmila Vachtová, a Swiss writer Laure Biss, and the Dessau-born Bauhaus member Roman Clements. Martona will stay with Lucia Moholy to work with her on a planned monograph, which is soon to be released by his publishing house. A few days later, I received a letter from him in which he writes, quote, "Dear Angela, the days in Zurich were wonderful. Thanks again for your help with Lucia Moholy's birthday party." End of quote. On October 17, 1985, Egidio Martona calls me. He is in Zurich and is now going to Lucia Moholy to drop off the expertly written monograph by Rolf Staxte. This is the very first monograph, and it's nothing short of a miraculous that this distinguished photographer is still alive to see the publication of this book about her oeuvre. Afterward, Martona comes to my apartment and gives me a copy of this Lucia Moholy monograph. I write a review of it, which is published by the Wochenzeitung in Zurich. On December 27, 1985, I sent a copy of another article I have written titled Lucia Moholy, eine große Aufnehmende, to Lucia Moholy in Zolikon and to Arthur Miller-Lening in Amsterdam. In 1928, the anarchist Arthur Miller-Lening published an article by Lucia Moholy in I-10, the ambitious international avant-garde review he edited. In this article, Lucia Moholy writes about a well-attended international congress for drawing, art education, and applied art in Prague in the summer of 1928. A total of 3,370 people participated in this congress in her home country, according to the article by Lucia Moholy, who was born in the Prague suburb of Karolienthal in 1894, spoke Czech and was educated in German. Quote, "It is clear that some rooms leave a vivid impression." Lucia Moholy's critique concludes abruptly, without any illusions. Oh, that was end of quote, and now it's another quote. "But on the whole, too much convention," end of quote. It should be noted that Lucia Moholy is one of only very few female authors to have had anything published in I-10. The texts published in it were primarily written by male authors, including Walter Benjamin, Walter Gropius, Leo Trotsky, Piet Mondrian, George van Dongerlo, and Ernst Bloch. I wonder what still holds true when I revisit my article written in 1985, Lucia Moholy, eine große Aufnehmende, today. I come across the following passage, quote, "From 1927, a young French woman, Florence Henry, began studying at the Bauhaus on the preliminary course led by Laszlo Moholy-Nagy. Quote, "Do you remember Florence Henry, Frau Moholy?" Lucia Moholy replied, "We saw each other often, but we had a kind of love-hate relationship. Lucia always perceptive senses and brings out the attentiveness and complexity in Florence Henry's face, as well as her dreamy reclusiveness. In Henry's self-portraits, Florence, the photographer, will never succeed in attaining the unique intensity of her contradictory personality traits captured in Lucia Moholy's Bauhaus-era image. It's regrettable that the Bauhaus did not enlist Lucia Moholy as a master." Now that's end of quote of this from this paper she published in 1987. When Lucia and her Hungarian husband Laszlo separated, Lucia Moholy had remained a Hungarian citizen. This fact had protected her from being interned in London, where she had emigrated, when she arrived there in June 1934, which had happened to other refugees from Germany. Lucia Moholy had turned her back on Nazi Germany in August 1933, after her beloved partner, the communist politician Theodor Neubauer, a Communist Party of Germany member of the Reichstag, who had previously campaigned in favor of the Bauhaus during its Weimar era, was arrested by the Gestapo at Lucia Moholy's Berlin apartment while she was there. As Lucia Moholy told me, she was astonished that she was not arrested at the same time. Theodor Neubauer was imprisoned in the Buchenwald concentration camp. After her divorce from Laszlo Moholy-Nagy, English friends helped Lucia Moholy to regain her original citizenship, quote, "Since the end of the war, Lucia has been a British citizen." End of quote. She had worked for the British Secret Service against the Nazis. The museum director, Dr. Ulrich Schumacher, informed me by telephone on May 22, 1986, that he would like to put on a Lucia Moholy exhibition at the Quadrat Museum in Bottrop, Germany at the beginning of 1987. He is traveling to Zurich, and in order to select the Lucia Moholy exhibits for the planned exhibition, Schumacher and I will go to Bankvault in Zurich. This is where Lucia Moholy's photographic vintage prints, those that have survived, are securely stored. In the Bankvault, I see somber landscape photos that are signed Lucia Neubauer Moholy in Lucia Moholy's handwriting, and thus bear witness to Lucia's intimate connection with Theodor Neubauer, to whom she was not married, but as this signature proves, felt closely connected. Since I know that Neubauer was executed by the Nazis shortly before the end of the war, I consider the photos signed Lucia Neubauer Moholy to be emotionally significant material for Lucia's biography, and therefore say to Schumacher, "You absolutely have to exhibit this." On Sunday, January 18, 1987, Lucia Moholy celebrates her 93rd birthday, and I visit her together with Max Bill, my future husband, in her private apartment in Zolikon, and photograph the two of them. In June 1987, my article Lucia Moholy is published in Zeitgloge Zeitung in Bern, which I read aloud to Lucia Moholy at her home in Zolikon. We discuss it, and she enjoys it. In conversations with me, Lucia Moholy is always refreshingly intense, approachable, open, encouraging, curious, and tender. Angela Thomas.